Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. I hope you're doing well. So, this video is going to be about the JET program interview process for the LA Consulate. I don't see many videos about the Los Angeles specific, so hopefully this helps out a few of you. First off, I'd like to say congratulations. You've gotten through the application, which was really difficult, and now it's time to do the hardest part and nail that interview. So a little bit about the LA Consulate. We are one of the biggest in, I think, the world. They sent out 150 of us this year, and we had to come in two groups because there were so many of us. Okay, so you've gotten in, you have your interview, and you are nervous. So step one is to calm down, chill out, relax. It's gonna be fine, unless it's not. No, it's gonna be fine. You are good. They like you and they want to meet you. Don't think of it as a daunting thing because they're just wanting to get to know you. So the first thing I recommend you do is to make friends. Go on to Reddit and go to the JET program subreddit. Now in there will be the application mega thread where everyone is posting if they got in, where they're from, and whatnot, and make friends with the people from LA. So what we did last year is we made a line group with everyone who was interviewing in LA. I think we started at like 10 or 11 people, but soon it spread and there were like 30 or 40 of us in one group. This is good because A, you'll have people to talk about what you're going through, and B, you can ask questions, see other people's questions, and just have a nice little community going specifically for LA. Because every consulate is different. Also, if you're lucky like I was, your interview will be towards the end, so you can hear how the interview was for everyone else before you have your interview. Ooh, something more about Reddit. I don't want to sound mean, but the JET program community on Reddit, the people who post regularly see the same questions a lot and deal with dumb questions a lot. So they are very short-tempered. No. They're very to the point. No. They are, what's it called when someone they're blunt. They're very blunt. And I'm just gonna say, but they're great. But just don't post on that sub if you are not thick-skinned. Okay, so before the interview, the consulate. LA Consulate is located in downtown in the most inconvenient place ever, and it's just a pain to get there. So what I did, a week before I drove to the consulate and scoped out the area a bit, I found a good parking lot that was really cheap. I think it was like $6 right over the bridge. It was like a 5-minute walk in heels, and just got a lay of the land and got, my bearings. So when the actual interview day came, I was ready. What to wear? Oh, this question gets asked so much. What do I wear? So I'm just gonna wear a suit. Buy a suit. If you're a girl, if you're a guy, if you're somewhere in between, just buy a suit. You're gonna need a suit eventually, and this is the government. You need to wear a suit. I went with a black suit because black is more slimming. So what I did is I took my cute little ass to Banana Republic and I bought an expensive ass suit. But hey, I needed a suit anyways. I got a button up shirt that was nice and some heels, and it was just nice. Listen, if you have to ask if your outfit is too much, don't wear it. This is Japan. This is the government. Simple is better. And I'm just going to show you what I wear. Hold on a second. So, this is the shirt that I wore. Yes, it is a tank top. Yes, it was hot. No, I did not take my jacket off during the interview. But it's plain, has enough frills to express myself and make me stand out, but not over the top crazy. Also, if you have hair color or weird style, your head shaved or whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, they get that we are people and we have stylistic choices. So come as you are, you will be fine with whatever hairstyle you have. But I mean, if you're feeling self-conscious about it, then do what you gotta do. On the day of your interview, when you arrive, you will be greeted by our Lord and Savior, Grant. Oh, Grant. And you will be put in a waiting room with some JET alumni who will sign you in and just kind of talk with you. But be aware that your interview has started. From the minute you walk in the door, they are watching you. They will ask you just general questions. Why JET? Where do you want to go? Blah, blah, blah. But, you know, keep it cool because they are watching you, the interview. So the way it works, to the best of my knowledge, is a point system. You've got a certain number of points for your application, and they make a point threshold. So say it was 300 points. So anyone who got 300 points or more on their application were asked to come to an interview. Now, at the interview, you get more points, and there's a higher point threshold. So for the application, they take 50% of those who apply to go to the interview, and from the interview, they take 50% of those to go. So there is a 25% acceptance rate for this program. So after your interview, there is the Japanese portion, and these points are extra credit. They don't hurt you, so if you don't speak Japanese, it's fine, but if you do, those will just be extra points added to you. And from what I can assume, based on my group that came, is the more Japanese you speak, the more likely you will be put in elementary school. Out of the 12-ish or so of us in my city, only 3 had no Japanese, and everyone else had at least conversational level Japanese, so keep that in mind. The interview. It is actually a lot less intimidating than you will be expecting. It's a interview panel style, so you'll have 2 alumni sitting in front of you and a Japanese, usually government worker or professor, with them, and you'll be sitting in a chair, like interrogation style. And the room is really small too, so it's like, but it's okay, don't worry. They're very nice people, and they just ask general questions. I was expecting a lot more hard-hitting questions, especially with like the presidency and all the conflict going on, but they actually didn't ask me about that at all. Also, there was no mock teaching lesson, which I know some other consulates have to do, which I was glad for because role-playing makes me uncomfortable. Okay, the interview. Yes, so the questions they asked, I can vividly remember them asking me about culture shock. They asked me how I would deal with like culture shock, and I said, well, I don't know. When they ask you these questions, it's important to stop and think and calm down, because I actually had to think, like, what am I going to experience culture shock? I told them that it was my first time moving away from home, so I don't really know what to expect, but I already have friends through line, and I am very willing to put myself out there and make new friends, which is the most important thing for me. I guess that was okay. They also asked me a hypothetical question, which was that Japanese people are known for being shy and quiet, so how would I deal with that if I had a student who didn't want to participate and was just very quiet? And my answer was I would bribe them with candy. I actually said that. I did. And then immediately after it came out of my mouth, I realized what a fuck up I had made, and so I said, but realistically, I would, try to take the pressure off them. I want my classroom to be a very welcoming space where the kids can feel free to not be judged and make mistakes, and that I would start with maybe nonverbal games or games that incorporated everyone so they could become more comfortable and in a group before they come out on their own. Because especially with English, it's already a difficult language. I don't want to make them do anything they don't want to, and I don't want them to feel discouraged. So, recovery. Oof. So, in the interview, it's important to remember that this is an exchange program. JET doesn't stand for Japan English Teaching. It's Japanese Exchange and Teaching. There's an exchange in there. So keep in mind that you want to bring up what you're going to do with what you learned after to benefit the program. Like, how are you going to extend the JET program to the outside world? When I remember telling them that I wanted to be a teacher when I got back, and that I wanted to be able to take what I learned from Japanese classrooms and incorporate into my classrooms and kind of see another country's perspective on teaching and classroom environment and whatnot. And maybe inspire my kids to go to Japan and do things. Some tips. Do not mention anime. Don't be a weeb. We all like anime, but don't do it. Also, keep in mind when you answer that you are not the head teacher. You are the ALT, the assistant language teacher. So it's not really your classroom. They're not your students to discipline. Everything that happens, you default to your GTE, to your head teacher, to whoever teacher you're teaching with. They take care of discipline. They take care of your rowdy students. You are not to deal with any of that. So if they ask you hypothetically, like, if a kid is, mouthing off, what are you going to do? You are going to tell your GTEs what you're going to do. So after your interview questions, you'll have the Japanese portion. And this goes back to what I said about joining a line group. That will help you because it helped me. So I was able to have a sense of what they were going to ask for the Japanese portion, so I was able to kind of prepare myself, which is not a good thing to do because, you don't want to sound rehearsed, especially for the English portion. You don't want to sound like you practice these questions. But for the Japanese portion, because I stutter a lot when I get nervous, I was ready. They asked me, easy things, what's your name, how old are you, what are your hobbies, if you prefer the mountain or the beach, which I heard was the sense about where they would place you. Like if you said mountains, they'd put you in a mountain. If you said beach, they'd put you on the coast. But that was just a rumor. What else? Oh, and then it started getting hard. They started asking, about our favorite American monument, which was weird, and asking to describe it, where to go, how to go there. It was getting into it, and then she started going faster and faster, and my brain started turning into scrambled eggs, and I just said, I don't know, and everyone laughed at me, but it was great. Right. So after that, they will ask you if you have any questions, and this, my friends, is your time to shine. This is to show that you've been thinking about things. Don't say no. Do not say no. What I asked was, 1, what did I ask? I asked how they got involved in their community, because it's easier said than done to get involved in activities in Japan. And they just said, oh, you'll be asked to go places, just say yes, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, wow, very interesting. And then I asked them also, how they dealt with being alone and being on your own with all these responsibilities, how to manage all that, especially because I come from a very close-knit family and had never lived on my own before at that point. And they said, oh, it's hard and it gets better, blah, 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 generic answer. And at that point, they came and knocked on the door, and my interview was finished. I didn't have to shake anybody's hands, thank God, because my hands were sweaty. And then the waiting started. The weight is off your shoulders, and you wait forever to hear back. But remember, stay calm. They like you already. They just want to confirm that you are who you say you are. You're the person that applied, you know? This, I mean, especially coming from the LA consulate where a lot of people are going to get in, just be yourself and stay calm. You know, my group, the line group that I started with, ended up having everyone but I think 3 people get in, and then 2 people were alternates who got upgraded. So for a group of, 30, 40 people, for almost everyone to get in, your odds are going for you. So, I just want to say good luck to all of you. You got this in the bag. It's going to be fine. Just remember that you are great. You can do this, and just breathe.